everyone, welcome. I'm Jenna. How are you doing? So I'm just sitting here waiting for my husband to meet me for lunch. I got done with Bible study and I said, hey, honey, do you want me to bring you some lunch? And he said, I was just thinking about going and grabbing a bite to eat. Do you want to meet somewhere? I said, yes. He said, okay. He said, where do you want to eat? First mistake. Never ask me where I want to eat because I'm going to take into consideration where you want to eat. I'm going to take into consideration where's quick enough where you can get it done on your lunch break and we can still get you back to work where you don't get in trouble. And number three, I'm going to think about, well, what am I hungry for? I don't know what I'm hungry for. So I'm going to have to just decide all these different things. He should have said, here's your two options, Jenna. Give me two options and then be done with it. I pick one of those. He still wins because he let me pick. He doesn't have to get into a text-a-thon with me back and forth about where we're going to eat. Jason's Deli. That's what we're going to eat. That's a good idea. Anyways, so let me tell you really nothing that has to do with lunch with my husband. Let me tell you about what happened the other night. And this isn't like an isolated incident. This is something that's been happening over and over again. Not really over and over again. It happened twice. I met a skunk. Not really met a skunk. Let me tell you what happened the other night. So we're up in our bedroom sleeping. It's a beautiful night's sleep because it's fall. The fan is blowing in the cool air from the window. Someone just pulled up next to me. They're probably like, what is she doing? But the fan is blowing in some cool air from the window in the bedroom, and we're up on the second story, our bedroom is, and all through the night, about every hour and a half, I got woke up by the smell of a skunk. Like it was strong. The particulates were in the air. So much so that there had to have been a skunk outside our window with his little booty pressed up against the window screen, just squirting that stuff into the room. And it was going in the fan and just going all over. I mean, that in my mind was obviously what was happening. A little skunk had climbed up second story of our house, big house, so that's like a big second story, and squirting that stuff into our room, got into the fan, and was spraying all over me and my husband all night. So I would wake up every hour and a half, and I'd be like, oh, it's stinky. And I'd sit there, lay there, just hoping to get back to sleep, knowing that I wasn't going to, and I did. And then about an hour later, again, same thing. And it would go away, like the smell would go away. And so I'm like, okay, good. The skunk got down off the second story. That's wonderful. We don't have to worry about it anymore. About an hour later, same thing again. The skunk smell would come back. So I'm like, oh, the skunk is back. Really, in my sleeplessness, both, my thought was the skunk was climbing up the window, spraying us, and then climbing back down. And then an hour later, climbing back up, spraying us, climbing back down. That was exactly what was happening in my mind. Exactly. So that went on. The next morning I said, Kevin, did you get any sleep last night? Or did the skunk keep you awake too? And he's like, oh, dude, I smelled it all night. And I was just like, yeah, me too. So that's skunk story number one. Skunk story number two, I had heard like just a total craziness happening out in the goat enclosure. And it was not late at night. It was probably like 11 o'clock at night. I was still up. And so I'm like, okay, let me go check out what's going on. Dogs were barking. Goats were going nuts. And I was just like, there's something going on out in the goat enclosure. And I was thinking maybe bobcat, coyote got in there. Something crazy was going on. So I go out. And I see Ratchet and RJ going nuts. They're chasing a cat. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, how did a cat get in there? Why are they chasing it? Not a big deal. The dogs love cats. But when a critter gets into the goat enclosure, any critter, they go nuts because they think that critter is going to kill the goats. Squirrel, chipmunk, possum, raccoon, all of these things, earthworm, all of these things are out to kill the goats that they are bred to protect. Ratchet and RJ are Great Pyrenees. They are bred to protect these goats. So anything that threatens their goats, they will go after. A cat, usually they'll figure out, not a big deal, the cat will get out, no problem. So I'm like, one of our black cats is in the enclosure. So I get a little closer. No. And not even a little closer. I get about a mile away and I can smell it's not a cat. It is a cat, not a cat. Skunks aren't cats. It was a skunk. I gave it away. It was a skunk. So this skunk they have trapped in the goat enclosure. Now a skunk is not going to hurt the goats, but I don't want skunks on our property because they do go after chickens. And so I love that the Pyrenees are going after the skunk. I just wish that they would just let it get out of the enclosure and just go away and hopefully never come back. But these dogs are working together so beautifully that the one will get the skunk going, running like towards the fence, and the other one will cut it off at the last minute at the fence. Like they are working as a perfect team to prevent this skunk from leaving. Like they want to kill this skunk. But the problem is the skunk is spraying them like a water spigot. You know those water spigots, or yeah, they're like, not the spigots, the water, not fountains. What am I, the things that you stick in the ground and they go like that, whatever that is. Sprinkler, water sprinkler. So this skunk is like a sprinkler. Like you put the sprinkler in and it's a so this skunk would like stand its ground, and then it's put a little tail up, and then it would just squirt like around like that in like a half moon wherever way that the dogs were. So it was spraying my dogs nonstop, and I'm like, something has to end because I can't stand the smell of the skunk on the dogs. At this point, I kind of felt bad for the skunk. I didn't want them to kill it. I was just like, I didn't want them to get hurt. Skunks have crazy teeth and nails, and I didn't want to be fixing up, injuries on my dogs. And so I'm like, I need to help this skunk just escape out of the fencing. The holes in the fencing are about this big, so the skunk can get through and escape if it can get to the fence, which with 2 Great Pyrenees, the skunk did not have a chance of getting to the fence. But the dogs wouldn't get too close to it because every time they did, it would spray them in the face or it would spray them, and that can be a horrible eye irritant to the dogs too. So I'm like, this needs to end. This whole skunk standoff needs to end. So I'm desperately trying to get this skunk to safety to the fence, right? So I grab one dog and I'm like, stay here with me, Ratchet stinks horribly. And so then I walk with this dog and I try to go over and get the other dog, and the dog's like, oh, I see you coming. So he runs around the other way, and then the skunk, without me realizing, the skunk says, oh, that's what I'm going to get, the human. So the skunk takes aim and goes just like right across me, all of me. So I put my hood up. I had a hoodie. I put my hood up real quick. I'm like, that will protect me against everything. And so it didn't. By the way, it didn't. But I thought most of the skunk stuff had gotten just on my clothes, right? So eventually, I got the dogs wrangled, and the skunk escaped. It was all wonderful. After I probably got sprayed about a half a dozen times. How that skunk didn't run out of skunk juice, I will never know. He must have called in backups from his little skunk glands, because he had an endless supply of skunk juice. So we get him out. He's gone. I'm like, okay, life is good. I'm exhausted. So I go up to head to bed, and I think, all right, I'll just take off my clothes and change into jammies or whatever. It'll be all good. It's, just get the clothes off. I put them down in the laundry room so that it's not stinking up our whole bedroom. Everything will be good. And I can't remember why my husband wasn't in bed yet. It must have been a Friday or Saturday night, but he wasn't in bed. I went to bed first. So I go up and I crawl into bed. My poor husband comes up, and he's like, probably about a half an hour later, and he's like, Jenna, you need to take a shower. And I'm like, no, the clothes are down in the laundry room. It's probably what you smell, just the after smell coming up from the whole floor down in the house. He's like, no, it's you, sweetie. You stink like a skunk. And I had crawled into bed, so the whole bed smelled like skunk. I smelled like skunk. It was in my hair, in my pores, everything. I took a shower, and it still really didn't help. It was the most horrible night of sleeping. Pretty much like the night just a couple nights ago where that skunk was in our window, obviously, spraying us through the screen. Which I know in my head that's not true. The skunk didn't climb up 2 stories and do that every hour for the whole night. But I'm having some issues with skunks. So that's the skunk stories. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope it helped you laugh just a little bit today, because honestly, that's what I'm here for. You can't make this stuff up. This is my life. Welcome to life on like a farm, a hobby farm, homestead. I don't know what I'm calling it. I love it. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.